Have you ever opened your refrigerator, thinking you're keeping your food safe, fresh and healthy, only to be silently harming your body? I used to think refrigeration was the best thing we ever invented, until I found out the truth, and by then, I had already made the same mistake for decades. The mashed potatoes that tasted off, the garlic that lost its punch, the bananas turning black overnight. I thought it was normal aging or just bad luck. But here's what no one tells you. Some foods should never go in the fridge. Not because they taste bad, but because cold temperatures actually destroy their nutrients, create dangerous compounds, or even trigger bacteria and mold growth. And the worst part, over 99% of seniors still refrigerate these foods every single day, unknowingly hurting their heart, brain, and gut health. But not you, not anymore. Watch until the end, because food number 2 will shock you the most, and fixing this one mistake might save your health. For most of my life, I believed what everyone else did. If it's perishable, put it in the fridge. Cold equals safe. But what if that cold air is quietly doing the opposite? You see, refrigeration doesn't preserve all foods, at least not in the way we think. In fact, it can trigger chemical reactions, destroy essential nutrients, and even activate harmful bacteria and mold, all while we think we're keeping food fresh. Let's break it down. When you refrigerate potatoes, cold temperatures turn starch into sugar, which when cooked can produce acrylamide, a probable cancer-causing compound. Refrigerating garlic can cut its heart-protective compounds in half, and tomatoes. The cold literally shuts off the genes that create flavor permanently. This isn't guesswork. These effects have been confirmed by researchers at Stanford University of Florida and leading food science institutions. But here's the scariest part. Most seniors have no idea. They think they're being careful, smart, safe, when in reality they're reducing the very nutrients their aging bodies need the most. The good news, we're about to fix that one food at a time. 9 potatoes. From comfort food to chemical risk. It started with mashed potatoes that just didn't taste right. Sweet, gritty, and oddly bitter. I thought it was the butter, or maybe age dulling my taste buds. But the truth, it was my refrigerator. When you put potatoes in the fridge, their starches rapidly turn into sugars, a process called cold-induced sweetening. And here's the problem. When those sugars are cooked at high temperatures like roasting or frying, they combine with amino acids to create acrylamide, a compound the International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies as a probable human carcinogen. A study from the University of Idaho found refrigerated potatoes had 300% more sugar within just 2 weeks. And it gets worse. The cold breaks down cell structure, giving your potatoes that unpleasantly sweet, gritty texture. How to store potatoes properly. Keep them in a cool, dark place, ideally between 45-50 degrees Celsius, like a pantry or closet. Use paper bags or baskets, never plastic. Keep them away from onions. The gases they emit cause each other to rot faster. Stored right, potatoes can last up to 3 months. In the fridge, they're ruined in 2 weeks. 8 bread, the cold that kills your loaf. We've all done it. Bought a nice loaf of bread, didn't want it to mold, so we slid it into the fridge thinking we were saving it. But we weren't saving it. We were killing it. Refrigeration doesn't preserve bread. It actually makes it go stale faster, up to 6 times faster, according to researchers at the Institute of Food Technologists. The reason's something called starch retrogradation. When bread gets cold, the starch molecules crystallize and push out moisture. The result, a loaf that feels like a brick after just 2 to 3 days hard, dry, flavorless. And it's not just the texture. Cold also destroys the natural aroma compounds in bread, the very things that give it that comforting smell and rich taste. So what should you do instead? Store bread at room temperature in a bread box or a paper bag that allows slight airflow. If you won't finish it in a week, slice it first, then freeze it, not refrigerate. When ready to eat, pop frozen slices directly into the toaster. They'll taste nearly as good as fresh. Remember, the freezer preserves, the fridge destroys. 7 honey ruined by the cold, not by time. 3,000-year-old honey was found in Egyptian tombs, still edible. But mine went grainy, thick, and strange after just 1 month. Why? Because I made the mistake of putting it in the fridge. Honey is one of the most stable natural foods on earth. It literally never spoils, unless you refrigerate it. Cold temperatures cause honey to crystallize rapidly. It turns from smooth liquid gold into a chunky, gritty mess that won't dissolve or spread properly. But it gets worse. Every time you open that cold jar, moisture condenses inside. That water disrupts honey's perfect balance, inviting bacteria and destroying its antimicrobial powers. A study by the National Honey Board showed honey stored below 50 degrees lost up to 35% of its natural healing compounds, the very things that make it a natural antibiotic for your gut, throat, and immune system. How to store honey properly. Keep it at room temperature, ideally between 64-75 degrees. Half store in a tightly sealed glass jar away from sunlight. If it crystallizes, place the jar in warm water and stir gently, never microwave it. And here's a tip: darker honey has more antioxidants but also suffers more in the cold. Protect it. Treat it like medicine, because that's exactly what it is. 6. Coffee. Your morning brew deserves better. Every morning I'd open the fridge, grab my fancy coffee beans, and wonder why my cup tasted flat bitter or just off. Turns out I was ruining it before the water even boiled. Coffee beans are incredibly porous. When you put them in the refrigerator, they absorb every odor around them: garlic leftovers, old cheese. That's not earthy flavor, it's contamination. But smell isn't the only thing lost. The constant temperature changes in your fridge cause moisture to form on the beans. This triggers oxidation, mold growth, and kills the delicate oils that give coffee its aroma and depth. In fact, the Specialty Coffee Association found that refrigerated beans lose up to 60% of their flavor compounds in just 1 week. Grind those cold, damp beans. You'll get a weak brew no matter how expensive your coffee is. How to store coffee properly. Keep it in an airtight, opaque container. Store at room temperature in a dark, dry cabinet. Buy only what you'll use in 2 weeks. Fresh is best. If you must freeze it, portion it out first and freeze it once, never refreeze. Coffee should energize you, not disappoint you. Let's stop letting the fridge steal the joy from your cup. 5. Garlic. A healing food turned harmful by cold. I always kept my garlic in the fridge. I thought I was being careful. But over time, I noticed something strange. It started sprouting. The cloves got soft, lost their punch, and turned bitter. What I didn't know, I was also losing the very compounds that make garlic medicinal. When garlic is stored cold, especially in a moist fridge, it starts to sprout and rot. That green shoot isn't just unpleasant, it signals a major loss in allicin, the compound responsible for garlic's heart protective, anti-inflammatory, and immune-boosting effects. A study from the University of California, Davis found that garlic loses 50% of its allicin content within just 10 days in the fridge. And worse, that cold, damp environment can trigger mold growth, some of which produce mycotoxins, harmful chemicals, especially dangerous to seniors with weakened immunity. How to store garlic properly. Keep whole bulbs in a cool, dry place around 60-65 degrees. Use a mesh bag or basket, never sealed containers. Avoid sunlight and don't keep it near your stove. Heat speeds up sprouting. Once broken, use garlic within 10 days. Here's a bonus tip. Room temperature garlic releases more flavor when chopped. You'll taste the difference and your body will feel it too. 4. Bananas. Tropical fruit called disaster. We all know that bananas turn black in the fridge. But what most seniors don't know is why that matters and how deep the damage really goes. Bananas are tropical fruits. They've evolved in warm climates and their cells aren't built for cold. When you refrigerate them, those cells rupture, causing chilling injury. It's not just skin deep. Inside, the enzymes leak, vitamins break down, and the fruit starts dying from within. A study from the Queensland Department of Agriculture found that bananas stored below 56 degrees lost up to 80% of their vitamin C in just 5 days. They also stop ripening and stop producing new antioxidants, which are crucial for seniors fighting inflammation, fatigue, and cellular aging. And those black spots, they're dead tissue breeding grounds for bacteria and mold, even if you can't see it yet. How to store bananas properly. Keep them at room temperature, ideally 56-70 degrees. Hang them or lay them gently on a towel to avoid bruising. Want them to ripen faster. Put them in a paper bag with an apple. To slow ripening, wrap the stems in plastic wrap. It reduces ethylene gas release. Once ripe, you can refrigerate bananas for 1 to 2 days if needed, but the skin will turn black. Better yet, peel and freeze them for smoothies. Frozen bananas make the creamiest, healthiest smoothies, no ice needed. 3 onions fridge, sham fast track to rot. If you've ever pulled out an onion from the fridge and found it soft, slimy, or starting to grow fuzz, you're not alone. But this isn't just about spoilage. It's about chemical damage, flavor loss, and even cancer risk. Onions need low humidity and air circulation. Your refrigerator has the opposite: high humidity, often over 90%. That moisture seeps into the onion's dry outer layers, creating a perfect environment for mold growth. One of those molds produces aflatoxins, among the most carcinogenic compounds known to science. Even before mold shows up, the fridge begins to change your onion. The cold converts starches into sugars, making onions overly sweet and ruining their ability to caramelize properly. A study from Texas University showed that refrigerated onions experienced a 270% increase in sugar content after just 2 weeks. You'll know something's off when your stir-fry tastes like dessert. How to store onions properly? Keep whole onions in a cool, dry, ventilated space like a pantry or cellar. Ideal temperature 45-55 degree F. Use a mesh bag, open basket, or even pantyhose. Never store them in plastic and keep them far from potatoes. They make each other rot faster. Only cut onions should go in the fridge sealed tightly and used within 7 days. Whole onions. They belong in the pantry, not the fridge. 2 tomatoes. The cold that silences their flavor forever. This one shocked me the most. I thought keeping tomatoes in the fridge would make them last longer. Instead, I was killing their flavor at the genetic level. That's not an exaggeration. Researchers at the University of Florida discovered that refrigeration actually turns off the genes that create a tomato's flavor and aroma compounds. Once those genes go dark, they never fully turn back on, even if the tomato warms up later. In other words, a cold tomato stops being a tomato. It becomes a red balloon, soft, mealy, flavorless, and almost nutritionally empty. Even more concerning for seniors, tomatoes are one of the best sources of lycopene, a powerful antioxidant that supports heart health and may help protect against cancer. Cold temperatures reduce lycopene availability by up to 65% and destroy the enzymes your body needs to absorb the rest. You're not just losing taste, you're losing protection. How to store tomatoes properly? Keep them at room temperature between 55-70 degrees Celsius. Store them stem side down. This prevents bacteria from entering. Avoid plastic bags. They trap ethylene gas and cause fast rotting. Use ripe tomatoes within 3 to 5 days. If you have too many, make sauce and freeze it. Cooked tomatoes have more lycopene, not less. Tomatoes are one of nature's gifts. Don't let your fridge take that away. 1. Avocados. What the fridge does should be a crime. We've reached the worst offender, the one food that shocked even the researchers. Because what the fridge does to avocados isn't just wasteful, it's almost criminal. Avocados are a nutrient powerhouse. They contain over 20 essential nutrients, including oleic acid, a healthy fat that supports brain health, fights inflammation, and improves nutrient absorption from other foods. But in the fridge, that rich, creamy gift turns into a watery, stringy mess, and the damage is deeper than texture. Cold temperatures trigger lipid peroxidation, a process that turns good fats into harmful free radicals. A study from Stanford University showed that refrigerated avocados lose 90% of their antioxidant activity in just 4 days. And worse, chilling activates an enzyme called polyphenol oxidase, which breaks down the very cells inside the fruit. The result, a bitter taste, ruined texture, and lost health benefits. How to store avocados properly? Keep unripe avocados at room temperature around 65-75 degrees Celsius. Place them in a bowl with airflow, not sealed in bags. To ripen faster, store with a banana in a paper bag. Once ripe, use within 2 to 3 days. Refrigerate only if absolutely necessary. For leftovers, keep the pit in brush with lemon juice. Store in a sealed container with a piece of onion. This prevents browning naturally. Avocados don't just nourish the body, they protect the aging brain. But only if we protect them first. You don't need a new diet. You don't need expensive gadgets. You just need to stop doing what the fridge has tricked us into believing is right. Let's walk through a normal day and fix the quiet mistakes that have been stealing your nutrients. Morning. Start your day by doing a quick scan of your fridge. Take out anything from our list of 9 potatoes, bread, honey coffee, garlic bananas, onions, tomatoes, avocados. Place them on the counter. Feel them in your hands. These foods don't belong in the cold. They belong in spaces where they can stay fresh, flavorful, and nutrient-rich. Move the potatoes and onions to a cool, dry pantry and store them far apart. Put the bread in a paper bag or bread box on the counter. Let the bananas hang and let the avocados breathe in a bowl. Set the garlic in a mesh bag. Keep your coffee in a sealed, dark container on a shelf, not the fridge. And your tomatoes, stem side down away from plastic and light. Honey. Just seal it and leave it in a dark cabinet. It'll last forever. Lunchtime. Now taste the difference. Slice a tomato that hasn't been ruined by cold. It'll be juicy and sweet. Spread honey that's still smooth, not crystallized. Toast bread that stayed soft all week, no fridge, no crumbling. Grind fresh coffee beans that still smell like heaven. Saute garlic that didn't turn to mush. One meal, one small change, and suddenly food tastes like it used to. Evening. Before bed, take just 2 minutes to set up for tomorrow. Hang your bananas so they don't bruise. Check your avocados if one's getting soft planet for breakfast. Freeze half your loaf of bread if you won't finish it in a few days. Give your garlic and onions space, air, and distance. And please never again trap your tomatoes in plastic. And that's it. No diets, no restrictions, just smarter storage and a few new habits that bring back flavor, nutrients, and health. It takes less than 5 minutes to protect what your body truly needs. And those 5 minutes, they could give you 5 more good years of strength, clarity, and independence. When we reach a certain age, it's not about living longer. It's about living better, stronger, sharper, more independent. And yet, the truth is painful. Most of us have been unknowingly letting our refrigerator strip away the very nutrients our bodies need the most. Not out of carelessness, but because we were told it was safe. Because nobody warned us that cold can destroy antioxidants, trigger toxins, or turn healing foods into empty calories. But now you know. Now you've seen the science. Now you understand the damage and the simple steps to prevent it. So here's my challenge to you. Today, take 5 minutes to rescue your foods. This week, notice the difference in taste and energy and how your body feels. This month, share what you've learned with one person you care about. Because good health isn't about making big, complicated changes. It's about doing small, consistent things that protect the body that's carried you this far. And it starts right in your kitchen. So go back, open that fridge, and start reclaiming your health one food at a time. You've got this, and we're here with you every step of the way. If you found this video helpful, please like it, leave a comment, telling us which food surprised you the most, and share it with a friend or family member who might be making the same mistake. And don't forget to subscribe for more simple science-backed tips to protect your health as you age. Because you deserve to feel good. And now, you know how.